Liminality, or the third space, as defined by Homi Bhabha, describes boundaries between cultures where translations and negotiations occur, allowing for disruptions of hegemonic narratives. As a practice, we have been looking at liminal space not as just limits between cultures, but a threshold between design practice and theoretical exploration.
Presented in this exhibition are 3 projects which have been shaped by various attitudes and avenues of intellectual research into topics of reflective nostalgia, cultural constructs of ruinophilia, and pentimenti. Within the liminal space that spans across design and research lay new possibilities to challenge status quos.
In recent decades, living and traveling extensively throughout Asia, we observed the alarming trend of Asia's major metropolises becoming more and more alike. From Shenzhen or Seoul to Kuala Lumpur or Bangkok, the army of glassy high-rise towers marching through each of their central business districts nearly obliterates any perceivable differences between these cities.
In China, this phenomenon is exacerbated by the sheer scale at which its process of urbanization and modernization has occurred. Practicing in China at this critical moment, we find ourselves caught between, quote, the optimization of advanced technology and the ever-present tendency to regress into nostalgic historicism, unquote. Nostalgia can be a problematic notion for some. It tends to be taken dismissively, as Charles Mayer remarks, quote, nostalgia is to longing as kitsch is to art, unquote. But we feel strongly that there is a potential to be constructive with nostalgia rather than mere reductive. Due to the fast pace of change we encounter in our environments, with the future uncertain and the present precarious, we predictably look towards the past as a stable time, often imploring it to inject some meaningful content to the present. Ruins make us think of the past that could have been and the future that never took place, tantalizing us with utopian dreams of escaping the irreversibility of time. At the same time, the fascination for ruins is not merely intellectual, but also sensual. Ruins give us a shock of vanishing materiality. Unlike European ruins, the Chinese understanding of ruin value differs in that there is a critical gap, a liminal space between the ruin relic itself and its representations. Ancient Chinese structures were often constructed out of wood, leaving behind only their foundations as traces of their original grandeur. Evident in its etymology, the words for ruin, which evolved from the word qiu, connoting a mound of rubble, to xu, a signifier of emptiness. As a result, the concept of the architectural ruin was increasingly freed from external visual signs, relying on illusion rather than direct, literal representations. The works showcased speak to our understanding that each project exists as part of a time continuum, occupying a liminal space, suspended in permanent evolution, each earning to write its own anticipated fate.
In recent years, our practice has been confronting ever-new parameters of adaptive reuse, where the notion of the off-modern ruin comes into play. These remnants, oftentimes non-romantic leftovers from failed projects, pose important questions to us in terms of sustainability and construction waste management, as well as deeper philosophical questions regarding originality and authorships. In our confrontation with these issues, we turn to the concept of pentimenti, defined in art history as a presence of traces of previous work. Through experimental means of preservation and adaptation, we aim to exploit a different logic of the ruin, which is non-romantic, not baroque, not melancholic, but a form of toleration of disharmony. Inspired by Svetlana Boym's notion of the off-modern doesn't mean to go outside, but claims that the off-modern attitude can recover the unforeseen past and chart unexplored territory of modern history and other margins of error of technological and philosophical projects.